Welcome, everybody. Welcome today. It's always such a pleasure to see all of you. My name is Dyann Castro-Wehr, and I'm your service assistant today. And today, our minister speaking is Frank Castro-Wehr. And Frank is on in the house today, and the talk title is Unity Dreams of Balance. And we are so happy, as always, to have our music ministry with Cheryl, Hodge, and Kate Curtis leading us today. You feel this energy they're creating already. It's starting, this combination of all of us together. As we prepare for a time of prayer and reflection, let's begin by just settling in our seats. We take a few deep cleansing breaths to support a posture of peace and relaxation. From this place, we call to mind any people or situation right now that could be blessed through prayer. I invite you to speak their names aloud or hold them in your hearts for a few moments. Returning to our breath, we gently breathe in peace as we listen to these words from the Daily Word. The theme is guidance, and the affirmation is, God is my guiding light. Let's say that together. God is my guiding light. Every day I have decisions to make. Some are small, like what to wear, what to eat, where to go. Others are large and looming. Financial concerns, health challenges, or how I might help a loved one. Regardless, I make all my decisions from a place of love and wisdom. God is my light. Like the beacon of a lighthouse that guides ships safely around the shore, my inner light illuminates the path before me, highlighting my journey's every twist and turn, making my way safe and sure. If I'm not sure what to choose, I become quiet and listen. My listening heart opens to divine wisdom, and I follow my guidance with faith. I do not need to know where my journey will take me. I need only to trust my inner light. My inner light is guiding me to my good. We'll say the affirmation again. God is my guiding light. I invite you to sit for a few moments and allow that light, allow that love to fill your being. And we'll say together one more time, God is my guiding light.
I embrace the questioning mind. Here are the answers I'm here to find. I welcome possibilities of the who, what, whens, and wheres I see. What do I want? What is my passion? What are my core beliefs? What do you want? What is your passion? How might our paths agree? I embrace the questioning mind. Here are the answers I'm here to find. I welcome possibilities of the who, what, whens, and wheres I see. What do we want? What is our passion? Can we find equality? Can we be stable in this unstable world? What should our new prayers be? Ooh, I embrace the questioning mind. Here are the answers I'm here to find. I welcome possibilities of the who, what, whens, and wheres I see. What do I want? What is my passion? What are my core beliefs? What do you want? What is your passion? Can we find somewhere to agree? We embrace the questioning mind. Here are the answers we're here to find. We welcome possibilities of the who, what, whens, and wheres. Of the who, what, whens, and wheres we see.
A Cheryl original, I believe. I want to start today with start with something, and then I just want to hang it out there, and we'll get back to it. It's an interesting piece that comes from what we call the Gospel of Thomas. Gospel of Thomas wasn't one of the original, well, it was around at the time, and we don't know for sure why it wasn't included in what we call the canonical Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Maybe for some reason people thought, well, it's not what we want to teach, or they didn't know about it. I mean, I don't know. But what I do know is we found it about 100 years ago. And now we get to explore this insight, this tradition, this wisdom that has been presented to us. It's this ancient material. And there's 114 pieces. There's a piece number 70. And all of them, they don't talk about a history of where Jesus was born and what happened. It's just little phrases. Jesus said blank, 114 of them. And what's really beautiful is many of these read almost like, like a koan, like a Buddhist koan. It's like a phrase, and you read it, and you can read it many different ways. And what it does, what's beautiful about these kind of teachings is they're not linear. And what I like about them is they seem to take us out of our rational thinking way of understanding something and ask us to sink into our heart and kind of sit into a wisdom way, an inner way, a deeper way of understanding something. And this one, number 70, goes like this. If you bring forth what is inside of you, that will save you. But if you don't bring forth what is inside of you, then that which is not inside of you will destroy you. Yikes. By the way, when this material was written, and we think it was published somewhere around 100 in the Common Era, 100 AD, and it was written mostly to a group of people who were either Jewish or Jewish-minded or knew the story or were very familiar with the traditions of the Middle East and would have known about Jesus, would have known about Jerusalem. They also would have known that the temple was destroyed in about 72, that Jerusalem was sacked, that they burnt the whole thing to the ground, and the final people who were the resistance fighter from the Jewish tradition at the time, up in Masada was destroyed. There was no resistance left. And if you were part of this tradition, if you were part of this world, if you were part of this population, this culture, you were basically, here's the diaspora, tossed out, on the run, no place to go, and the Roman Empire just dominated everything of the area and crushed the culture. And so people ask questions like, who wouldn't? How are we going to get out of this mess? What happened to us? Who's going to save us? I feel like all around us is destruction. Maybe that's how people in Gaza feel right now. People in other parts of the world, in Ukraine, people all over, many people in many parts. And it's a story, this story repeats. We've seen it so many times through the years in so many areas. Who's going to save us? It's desperate times here. And Jesus said, Yeshua says, if you bring forward, if you allow to emerge that which is inside you, that will save you. But if we don't bring out that which is inside of us, then that which is not brought out, isn't that a weird way of saying something? That which we don't bring out is what will destroy us. Okay, park that. You can see that, and what would that mean to people at the time? It's like, yeah, that sounds good. Bring out what's inside of me. But, I'm trying to live here. I'm trying to live here. There's more to this story. There's more to this story. It gets deeper and richer. Okay. So something interesting that I just learned, didn't know this. This is a little unity history. For those of you who are new to unity, I think when they coined the term unity, 1898, with the publication of the Society of Silent Unity, which is now Silent Unity, and the publication of its stuff. But that word unity, this movement is unity, 1898. And somewhere around the 1920s, something was going on in the world, probably had a lot to do with Carl Jung and Freud and this new movement, this scientific movement to understand the human mind. Psychology, this was new. This was science. This was emerging in the century. And one of the fascinating things I love was, especially once Carl Jung came on board, and he started talking about dreams and the importance of dream work. my talk title, Unity Dreams of Balance. And he started saying that, if you really want to understand what's going on in us, you got to understand that there's two parts of us. There's the outer part of us, the conscious, but there's this inner part of us that we look at. Ooh. Yeah. There's an inner world that's rich and it's full. And it contains, actually, when Jung would draw like pictures, the conscious piece of us, like if there was like an egg, would just be a little sliver at the top. The unconscious is what Carl Jung would say, is what is the fullness of us, filled with images and archetypes, the anima and the animus, our shadow, this deep world of our total truth. And what's inside of us, go back to that thing. If we bring forth what is inside of us, that brings us, they said, like, that will save us. That was their language. I might say, will enliven us, will bring us forth to the true nature of who we are, will bring forth the fullness of our being if we go to what's inside of us. And so the psychologist, that was written in 100, the common era. Now we're jumping forward into 1900s. Carl Jung saying, again, we need to look what's inside of us. The deep roots of our psychological nature. Now, Carl Jung's writing over there in Switzerland, and I don't know if Carl Jung knew anything about Charles Fillmore and unity. It's possible Charles Fillmore might have known something about Carl Jung. I've looked into the archives, and I found articles and materials that talk about unity following this path of looking at dreams and being very interested in how do we determine what's unfolding inside of us. Did Jung know Fillmore? Did Fillmore know Jung? I don't know. But I did find some stuff in the archives that I want to share with you. Here's one thing that Charles Fillmore, this Unity's co-founder, Charles or Myrtle Fillmore, said. And it's not in a book. It's just like letters he wrote in the magazines or in the back part of Unity magazine from like 1920. He says, well, there's one mind. It has three distinct phases in humans. These, the metaphysician has named the superconscious, the conscious, and the subconscious. Now, it's interesting here. Unity used the word subconscious and superconscious. Carl Jung just said the unconscious. But look how they're paralleling this, unfolding in time. The majority of people, they know nothing about any department of mind except what's conscious, except for the physical world, the world out here. You wake up and we jump into the conscious world, we go to sleep, it snaps off, and then we think anything that happens between 10 at night and 6 in the morning, a lot's happening. Dreams are happening. Every thought passes through the conscious mind, but then it sinks back into what we call the subconscious. I love that. It just like sinks into a stew. It's all there. And makes up the great internal realm of forces that are always at work in the human person to build us up or to tear us down, according to the character of the thoughts that we are holding in our conscious mind. Unity's third principle. Whatever we're holding in our conscious mind, that sinks down into the subconscious. And we think, I'm not thinking those thoughts. Oh, if we like put a lot of energy into something, it's still there. And it's still working on us. And it's still come up in our subconscious. And it's still having an impact on our life and our life's unfolding. So it's according to the character of the thoughts that we're holding on to. In this great unknown inner realm lies the causes of our joys and sorrows, our peace and our pain, our sickness and in health. In this beautiful inner place. So the question always is, if we feel like this, that we live mostly in the conscious mind, how do we access it? What's our mission statement? Spiritual practices. Go and find that inner place. And they're suggesting this whole world of dreams. Then they talked about this thing of the inner mind and practices on how to determine. And by the way, from the late 19 teens into like 1930, I couldn't find the exact dates, Unity started a department. It was called the Dream Interpretation Department of Unity. For like 20 years, we had a dream interpretation department, and then that's gone, and it's never really come back. And yeah, you want it back? Well, we'll talk about it. Yeah. I want it back too. We can have it back. And I know, by the way, I'm talking about dreams. Here's what I suspect. There's a lot of you in the room going, I love my dreams. I get up, I write them down, I journal them, I try to look at them, I've learned the different studies and ways to look at dreams and interpret them. And there's some other people going, yeah, I do that once in a while, maybe. And other people go, I never remember my dreams. And other people go, I dream, I bet we're across the spectrum, right? Everybody's nodding because everybody's somewhere on that spectrum. Like, I love my dreams or I ignore them. And if you're one of the people that goes, yeah, the dream thing is not my thing, just give me just a few minutes, and we'll be over this part, and then we'll get back, and I'll talk to them. You knew it was going to happen, is that when I was getting ready for this talk, and I was thinking about dreams all week, I'm like, okay, I'm going to have a dream. And I did, of course. Lots of them. I've been waking up and scribing dreams. I had this dream the other day. I'm breaking this talk, where all of a sudden, I show up, and I'm in this place way down south. It's not Africa, and it's not Australia, and it's not... I don't know where it is. It's not Argentina. Why do all these southern countries start with an A? I don't know, maybe. But it was somewhere like south. It was warm. It was exotic. It was wonderful. And I realized this was easy to get here. I didn't need extra money. I didn't have to convert anything. It's cheap. It's easy. I can come here anytime I want. And I left the dream was, why don't I come here more often? It's an easy trip. Do I jump on a plane? I don't know. I don't know how to get here. You just want to get there, and you're there. And it's beautiful. And I went, that's a good dream. To get to the inner place, to get to this amazing inner world, it's not like there's no big barrier to getting there besides just our energy of deciding to do it. I just want to go to that place. Take me to that place. And I'm there to roam. And I think I saw some pictures from Jim and Jane on their trip in Africa. And I'm thinking there's emus and there's ostriches. And there's all, it was like this exotic place. It was like being there. But it wasn't Africa. It was this other great place. We all have this inner world. We all have this inner place where what we bring forth from inside of us will bring us transformation, will save us, will bring us freedom. Finally, there's a piece here from Carl Jung. And by the way, on truthunity.net, there was a minister, I should give him credit. His name was Russell Hayland. He did his master's thesis in 2007. And I think he was he's a unity minister working to be a psychologist. So in his master's thesis, this is where I got all this. He went into the archives and he looked at all this information about unity and dreams and the interface between Carl Jung and the dream world. So I read this piece on, this is from Carl Jung actually, in 1928. It's high time for the clergyman and for the psychotherapist to join forces to meet the great spiritual task of leading individuals to reclaim their religious outlook. It's high time the psychologist and the religious person, the clergyman, join together. And he talks in there frequently about how someone said, a critique, Charles Fillmore said, you've critiqued me. And he said, unity, you're not a religion, you're a psychological group, a psychological movement. And Charles Fillmore says, psychology, spirituality, they move together to unfold the human person. We live in a time, and this is a time that, the great teachers sort of intuited, but we live in a time where we have a lot of worldviews online. We have modernism, science, psychology and deep theories of biology and and chemistry and nuclear physics. All these things of our modern era are online. That the ancients, they intuited it, they felt into it, they hinted at it, but they couldn't have known it because it didn't evolve into the human mind, the human consciousness yet. And one of the brilliant things that the Fillmores, Myrtle and Charles, did is they said, we're going to take this tradition This tradition that's been around for thousands of years, Christianity, and also the Vedas that have been around 4,000 years, and Buddhism that's been around a couple thousand years, and all the pieces they could find out of the great traditions, and they said, let's bring them into the modern mind, modern thought. Let's look at the contemporary of what's going on then. And so that's what they were doing. They were taking these new ideas of psychology and blending them with Christianity mostly, but other faith traditions, and finding this new world. And we, folks, we at 2024, we can't just do what the Fillmores do, because they were trying to take traditional thought and bring it into the modern world with psychology and new ways of thinking. But we have something else online Charles Fillmore didn't have online. We have a new way, postmodern, transmodern, new awakening awareness of the human potentiality that even the Fillmores didn't know about. So if we're going to be unity, let's not just say what the Fillmores said, let's do that. And also, let's be the energy that the Fillmores had in being willing to explore and stretch and expand and dive into new levels of awakened awareness that even the Fillmores didn't know, that they hinted at, they intuited, but how could they have known it? It's online just most since the 50s, 60s, transmodernism. This is all new. And what is that? It's when we find a new level of the sensitive person that sinks into the feeling nature of who we are, and then can say, not only am I going to think it out, but I'm going to sink into the feeling nature and the full person nature of who we are, and bring these traditions back online, back alive, retranslated in a whole new way for the contemporary person. This is the evolutionary impulse that's happening. It is spiritual, it is holy, it is sacred, and it's us. You know, we can stand on this, we can play in the world of tradition, yeah, bring on scripture, love it. And also modernism, bring on the science, love it. And also postmodernism, let's start being sensitive to the sacredness of every single human being on earth, every single human being on earth. Did we leave anyone out? No, every sexual orientation, you know, every race, every creed, every color, every single men and women, all of us. This is the postmodern sensibility. This is the awakened awareness. Enough of the caste systems of our cultures where we discriminate or take people apart. Awakened awareness. And where does this come from? And we find deep inside us this place, and we know this truth because the Fillmores were saying, where does it come from? Jung would say there's a conscious, our awakened awareness, and our unconscious, what's bubbling up inside. But the Fillmores, unity added another level to that. They called it the superconscious. The superconscious, the divine consciousness, the superconscious that doesn't come to our conscious mind. We don't see it here. It sinks into the soup of our unconscious, and then it comes up. And so all the spiritual work we can do, all the exercises, dreaming, paying attention to our dreams, if that's one that appeals to you, let's get back to paying attention to our dreams. Jung and the current psychology, they give us all sorts of tools on how to understand the dream life that we have and to bring that forward. We've got the tools to do that. Meditation, journaling, contemplation. We need to go here to this beautiful, sparkly internalness of us and bring that out. Yeah, bring that out. Charles Fillmore said, he talks a lot about dreams. He says, most people, they go to bed at night with a bunch of thoughts. They wake up in the morning, and the first thing they do is, what was I thinking about last night? Let's keep on going. He said, no, stop. Wake up and sink into that silence. You're already in that sensitive place. Grab a hold of the dreams, even if you get fragments and pieces. In the dream interpretation department, they used to write letters to the Fillmores. They hired a whole bunch of staff to do dream interpretation and mail the letters back to people. Then people started sending them 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 dreams. So they started putting out, you guys, you're overwhelming us. They said, okay, we'll do it from now on, but it's $1 a dream. Because they did. To this day, you can call Silent Unity to this day on the phone, and if you'd like to leave a love donation, here's where you can do it. But we will pray with you. It doesn't matter who you are, where you came from, or what. we will do it. Love donation appreciated. And we've run Silent Unity. But they tried to do that with the dream interpretation place, and they said, it's costing us $1 a dream here, guys. And so anyhow, after about 20 years, they said, this is a loss leader here. But what value the dreams have, you know? I mean, couldn't you imagine waking up and having a dream and go, here's $1. I need to understand this. This is potent. I have dreams. I don't know see if this kind of matches your experience. Have a dream if you have a dream. And then you have a dream like on Monday, and I'm still thinking about it on Thursday. It like, hello, Spirit saying super conscious. It's not only the conscious and unconscious, subconscious, but the super conscious, the divine impulse is finding a way so that if we bring forth what is inside us, yeah, man, that saves us. That's the power, that's the juice, that's the energy. And a caution here is if we don't bring forth what is inside us, you know, what we don't bring forth can destroy us. So it's not only like, what a good idea. Well, let's bring that in a more contemporary way, that little saying, right? Let's bring that forth a little way. And let's talk about both pains and potentiality. If we have deep-seated wounds, given that we have these wounded parts of our nature, and if we can bring these forth, what's inside us, and take a look at the broken parts of our life, the parts of our life where we go, I'm not getting that right. That always leaves me upset. I'm just off balance. So what do? Well, we could ignore it. And if we don't bring forth what is inside us, that which we're not bringing forth can destroy us. Those deep-seated wounds and feelings and aggravations and angers and disappointments and frustrations, and whether rightly, whether from our memories we're interpreting them correctly or not, they're there. So we bring that material forward that's inside us. And it's so interesting, like that he says that will save us, or that will redeem us, or that will transform us, or that will free us, or that will uplift us, or that will convert us to new levels of awakened awareness. Shall we bring that forth, what's inside us? So we need to go look. We need to go look here and bring forth what's inside us to our conscious mind. You see, there's a balance here. It's not like we just want to go to the unconscious and stay there, the subconscious and stay there. We want to bring it forth into our conscious awareness where we spend most of our awakened hours and we can play with this material. But we got to have the stuff to engage with. The other side of it is our potentiality. Oh, we have, every person in this room is a genius. We all have our genius. We all have that is within us that is just remarkable. It's just stupendous. It is this calling that's just, it's almost humbling how amazing each one of us is. And we're not all amazing at everything, obviously, but there is that in each of us that is our genius that we showed up here to be, to do, to love, to express. The one divine allness expressed itself in the multitude of the individuals, each one with a beautiful piece of that wholeness, of that divine, of that godness, showing up as me to express that piece of the divine potentiality that is mine to express, that is yours to express, that is ours as a community to express. So what is it? How do we find it? Well, we do the internal work to find what that is. Another way, we do spiritual conversations on Monday morning. We sit around, we chat, we take the talk, we take other things. We just allow some energy to rise up amongst us, and things pop up. Ideas pop up, insights pop up. We give ourselves the time to explore that inner world, to bring it into consciousness, both the wounds and the genius and the great potentiality. There's another piece in the Gospel of Thomas I like as well. And by the way, it's really fun, just a little scripture thing. In the Gospel of Luke and Mark, it always talks about, Jesus calls it the kingdom of God. And in Matthew, he calls it the kingdom of heaven. And in Thomas, he calls it the kingdom of the loving Father. Interesting. That's what they called it. What do you call it? You know, I've also read in one interpretation, God's imperial rule of our life. But we have postmodern interpretation. What about the realm of the fullness of love? The realm of God's loving presence. The realm of the loving source that is the divine source of all things. The realm of divine life. The world, or the community. Maybe not realm. We don't talk about kingdoms and realms. The community of divine love. So instead of saying the kingdom of God is life, the community of divine love. You pick your own. What works? What resonates for you? That's what Jesus was trying to do. I'm trying to give an image to understand it. But if this image doesn't work, what's the image that works for you? We don't have to take an image from 100 AD that worked for them. Great. I understand why that worked for them. But what works for us? You know, this community of a divine love, this fullness of divine love. So it goes like this, and I'll use that one. The fullness of divine love. If you seek the fullness of this divine love in the sea, too late. Fish beat you to it. And if you seek this community of divine love in the sky, too late. Birds already got it. But if you seek this realm of divine love within you and without, you will know yourself. You will know yourself. And in knowing yourself, you'll experience the fullness of this divine rule. You will know yourself. And in this knowing of yourself, you'll experience the fullness of this presence of the divine. Shall we go within? Yeah. So here's your homework. There's always homework. And I mean, this is kind of interesting. And I love that. And by the way, it says, if you go within, it says, like the king, but if you experience this, the way the line goes, if you experience this divine rule within yourself and outside, then you will know yourself. Within yourself and then outside. And I love this balance. Because it's always a balance, you know? We can get into, the idea of someone, the old adage, sitting up in a cave and meditating all by themselves, finds himself, way over on the extreme. It's like, yeah, but I'm lonely. And people are so over here in the world, they're only in the world and think nothing of the world. It's like, yeah, but I'm lonely for the divine realm. I'm lonely for the kingdom. I'm lonely for this energy of the divine. It's in this, this beautiful balance. This beautiful balance of the within and take it without. We don't just go within and stay there. So look, just like a dream work. We have these nights and we dream, and maybe the whole dreams, I don't know, you can put time with them. There are these moments, they may seem an eternity in the dream world, and then we come back into the conscious world. But we have to bring these two together. Unity, dreams of balance. Maybe we're dreaming of having balance. Maybe our dreams lead us to balance. But it's all this you see what I'm saying? And if it's not dreams, if your dream work is like, nah, that's not really my thing, that's fine. It's not, if it was like, you got to do this, we'd still have a Unity Department of Dream Interpretation. We still have a silent Unity prayer department. That's never changed. And what do we do in prayer? It always comes back to prayer, right? What do we do in prayer? Do we, when we pray, and I always say there's pray. Any prayer, that's good. But let me suggest this. That when we start in prayer, we don't start with, hey, God, out there. consider this. We start with what's right here inside us. I now stand in the presence and the power of the divine, this loving realm of divine energy. It is here. It is within me. It is now. And in this energy, I claim the truth of our wholeness. I can claim the truth of what this community is unfolding. I can claim the truth of healing that is happening in body and soul, in our consciousness, this movement to awakened awareness. You know, we can start right there with the truth of our nature. This is the start of our prayer. We start here, and then we go give, and then we reach out. And you can always trust that what you need is going to come in. But we start here, you know? So close your eyes for just a second and listen to these words one more time. If you seek this realm of love in the sky, it's too late. The birds have beat you there. And if you seek this realm of love in the sea, it's too late. The fish are already there. Rather, seek this realm of love inside and outside of you. And then you will be known. And you will be known as children of a loving God. Seek it inside and outside. And then you will be known. You will be known. And you will be known as children of a loving God. Just take that into a moment of silence. In the silence.